Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola, Keeping It Real, Section 5 Football. This is our second interview, our second episode. I have myself here, my partner on my left, Section 5 Hall of Famer Paul Burgandy, and our first guest of the year.
What a special honor.
Wedged in between you two. I'm loving it, man. This is great. It's truly an honor.
It's like I said, when Paul and I were doing this, we just kind of, it was down to you and George Giordano, basically. So,
now, listen, Georgie, I cannot bump Georgie. I'm surprised George allowed me to get in here.
I got him coming in a couple weeks.
Okay. He's the best.
So yeah,
this is a big time setup you guys got here, though. Big time
for a couple of amateurs. I mean, and let me explain a little bit what we're retired coaches. We both did 37 years in Rochester, and we just want to try to give something back. This football thing is. I'm the son of a football coach. Mm-hmm. My dad was a coach, for 42 years. I know football. Paul knows football. Yeah. And after we got done playing football, luckily I had my dad with me, and he said, "Did you ever think about coaching?" No, not really. Well, then I started coaching, and that was almost 40 years ago now. So that's something. And then Paul, he got done playing college ball.
Came back to Rochester and got into coaching very early. We coached together, I think, that first year.
Yes, at Greece Olympia.
When we all started. But my vision, too, of the podcast was to communicate, pass out information. There's so many avenues you can go in the sport of football, whether you want to be an official, whether you want to be a coach, whether you want to go to clinics, learn. And we want to pass that information out to listeners so they can, if they have an interest in it, this is where you go, this is what you do.
Well, listen, we know how much how high school sports means to this community. It really is. Mm-hmm. I think it's the lifeline. High school sport. We don't have, I know the Bills are down the road, Syracuse is down the road, but when people ask me to describe Rochester, I'm from Erie, it's very, very similar. Where it's high school, it's rivalries, it's coaching, it's giving back to the kids and the community. So to be on this show and to be part of, I'm sitting between two legends. You guys are legends. Let's be honest.
Thank you.
To be part of this is truly an honor. But you're right. And listen, my dad was football. I grew up in a sports family. Mm-hmm. Once it's in the blood, it never leaves.
Never.
It never leaves
right
the blood.
On.
Never.
Right
and I was indoctrinated early, and it just never left. Mm-hmm. And it's not going anywhere.
And there's nothing really like, you've been to your share of Penn State football games.
Yeah, too many losses, but yeah.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But my nephew, CJ Battaglia, just graduated. He was a lacrosse player at Penn State.
They got good lacrosse.
Yes, their lacrosse is turning around.
Yeah.
But the football games must be epic.
Listen.
Those whiteouts.
If you love football, a whiteout should be part of a bucket list.
Yeah.
If you love football and you love college football and the pageantry, to me, and listen, it may be biased, but it's the best event going in college football is the whiteout at Penn State.
It's pretty something special.
It really is.
Now, what we'd like to do with you is just you coming from Erie, just, and we talk about high school football. Tell us a little bit, tell our listeners, what was it like down in Erie? Because when I was coaching at Aquinas, we did play Erie a couple times.
Right.
And those were some tough football games. And just tell us a little bit about growing up.
It's one of those questions when you go back home and you meet people from Erie. Where'd you go to high school? It's not where'd you go to college.
Right.
Yep.
It's right. Who do you root? It's where you went to high school. So it's very, very similar here. Mm-hmm. Very, very similar town. It's a very blue collar town where, sports was it. It was sports, pizza, and girls. That was basically the three priorities just growing up. But you can't. Listen, I love this town. I love Rochester. I'm raising my daughter here. So, but growing up in Erie, I couldn't ask for a better a better hometown.
Yes.
It's very family oriented. Being Italian, there was a gazillion Italians down there in Erie.
We love it there.
We started playing Bay City football at 10. I don't know what they start here. It seems like they start earlier.
Earlier, yeah.
We couldn't start down there until I was 10.
Really?
Yeah, you couldn't start at 8. There's no leagues at 7, or you had to be 10 years old to play. But
wow.
It was crazy.
Wow.
What I remember when I was coaching at Rockport State, we'd play Mercyhurst in that in the Erie, what was it called, either Veterans Stadium or Community Stadium.
Veterans Memorial Stadium.
And I do remember up on the wall, they had a Mike McCoy, Fred Bolitnikoff. Are they from? And I don't know. There was another gentleman.
Mike McCoy went to Cathedral Prep and then went to Notre Dame and was the second overall pick behind Terry Bradshaw.
Okay.
Went to the Packers.
Yep.
And then ended up with the Raiders. Had a good career, not a Hall of Fame career, but very, very good. There was also, you had Fred Bolitnikoff, who went to Tech, which is now Central High School down in Erie. And, of course, went to Florida State. We know the rest of the story goes to the Raiders. You had Woody Thompson, who went to East. He got drafted by the Falcons. And since then, Bob Sanders.
Yep, that's the name.
Bob Sanders, who was the NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
Mark Stepnoski went to Prep. Prep,
just a great tradition.
Prep and Aquinas had that great rivalry going for many, many years. But Erie Cathedral Prep was and still is a football power.
I remember, wasn't the school overlooked the
Academy High School is where I went. We played all the city games were played at one venue. It has changed now. It's now gone to the locations of the high schools, most of them. But back then, you had one stadium, and you played your league games there at Veterans Memorial Stadium.
It's special.
It's very, very. We did all our basketball games at Gannon University for high school. We played all the league games were played there.
Really?
Which was a thrill, playing in front of, the place held maybe, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000. But you're still playing. You're still playing in a college gymnasium, which to us was a huge thrill.
Now, my experience with Prep goes back to 2000 and 2001. Erie Prep was in the state finals against CB West, and it went into went in overtime, and CB West ended up beating them like 14-13. Now, the next year, 2021, they meet in the finals again. And myself and a couple other guys go down, and Prep was just loaded. I mean, I remember Ed Hinkle. I don't know if these names are...
I know Ed Hinkle. Ed Hinkle, I want to say he ended up at Iowa.
Yes, there you go.
Penn State would never... They didn't recruit him. There were kids who were going to Prep, like Bob Sanders, that ended up at Iowa.
Yeah.
And didn't end up at Penn State. It was like, I'm baffled.
What's going on here?
I was so upset, but Ed Hinkle could play.
Juwan Walker.
Could play. Absolutely. Great player.
I got a couple other ones that are just slipping my mind right now. But anyways, we went down and watched it, and the game went into triple overtime.
Okay.
It was the highest two ranking teams I've ever seen play.
Yeah.
And that's back then till now, and I've seen my share of games in between.
Yeah.
It was number 2 in the nation. CB West. They're on a 59-game winning streak.
Well, they're a fact. That's a football factor.
Yep. And Prep beat them in triple overtime. And Prep was 9th in the country.
Well, I think, now who was coaching there? Was Mike Pettin there at that time?
Yes.
Like
the father's son, right?
The father was there.
The father won in 2000.
Okay.
Then he retired. Then his assistant coach, I want to say Dave Carey, he took over for CB West. They ended up winning all the games, and they lost to Prep in the final. It was one of the most unbelievable games. There was over 15,000 at the game. I mean, it was just back then. People had to be at games.
Where was it? Were you down in Hershey? Hershey, because he used to play the state finals. They for a time played it in Altoona.
Oh, really?
Is where when I was working at a TV station in Erie, I covered Erie Prep was playing North Allegheny.
Okay.
Which still to me, people ask me what's the best high school football team I ever saw. It's North Allegheny. They had Paul Fela played quarterback at Notre Dame, and their linebacker on the same team was Justin Goheen, who also went to Notre Dame. Wow. They were completely loaded, and they pancaked Erie Prep. That's still the best high school team I've ever seen. And I've seen some pretty good ones up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when with Bianchi had Webster Schrader,
Yep.
And of course Aquinas under Dave Neiman, and of course under Tags.
Yep.
That's still the best high school team I ever saw, the North Allegheny team.
Yeah.
Oh, they were loaded.
And the reason right now that we're talking about this is we're trying to let people in Rochester know that's 2 hours away.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Great football.
It's great football. It's unbelievable. And it's only 2 hours away. So what I try to tell people is you got to open your mind up, get out and look, be a fan of football. Everybody's so wrapped up in their kid and this and that. But if you're truly a football person, open it up and go see as much as you can.
Listen, I moved here. I mean, I thought people said, there's not football. You're going to New York. You're from Pennsylvania. But I moved here, and it reminded me a lot of Erie. I thought the passionate fans and fan bases and the stadiums. I thought there was a lot of great players here. I thought Section 5 got a bad rap. I just think, recruiting-wise, you guys know more than this, more than I do. But I thought a lot of kids were overlooked. Because maybe coming out of Section 5.
Yes.
Right?
We don't get the recognition.
It's
not a football state.
Especially when you're surrounded by Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and they play more games, and they're heavily recruited states.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that hopefully that we can bring this out a little more.
Well, when you guys were playing, what was the reputation then? I mean, you guys were in high school back in the day.
Well, that has always been because of the number of games that we've played, and again, what happens with a lot of the college recruiters, when they speak to the coaches, they want to know if Syracuse or UB has offered.
Okay.
And sadly, if you have not received an offer from one of the two school Division I's that are closest to you, they use it as a red flag, meaning that if they aren't interested in you, why should we yet? And we have so many good kids that end up, they'd be happy to play in the Mid-American Conference or and we have a lot of them that done real well, going to those places. But that was one, and just the number, like I said, the number of games hurt us because when they have the opportunity to hit New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, those kids are probably playing maybe 15, 20 more games in a career, than some of us.
That's like a season and a half.
It is. Football. That's a great call.
And it's just, but who knows? Maybe we can help it out a little bit. And like I said last week, give us some juice. That's all we want to give Section 5 a little juice, and hopefully it kind of grows, and I said it last week, and I'll keep on saying this for us. I would love just to have a comment. We'd totally make everything of a young man that, hey, I seen you guys talking, and you know what? That's pretty cool. I want to be a part of that. And that's all we're about. We're, like I said, we're just a couple old football guys, that been around the block a couple times, and we care about it.
Well, it shows, and I think it's a great way of giving back. You guys been for 37 years. You've been part of the community, and you continue to give back. And absolutely, football and I just think high school sports means so much. I think it means so much for the kids. It means so much, for the families. Just being part of a team. How it just not only helps you in high school, but I think it helps you in life.
Yes.
It really, after you're done playing, you go to college or wherever your career may take you. Yep. I think you fall back on those principles and values of being part of a football team or any kind of athletic team.
Now, I told Paul I was fortunate enough, like I said, I'm the son of a football coach. My father was coaching at Fairport. Now, this is back 1977.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
I'm a ball boy at Fairport.
Nice.
Don Santini's the head coach. My dad's the DC.
Oof.
So they're playing East Rochester at Fairport.
That was the big game.
Little Brown Jug.
That was for the Brown Jug. And I remember coming out of the locker room at Fairport, And you ever been to Fairport, watch a game?
Oh, yeah.
You know where the Fairport side is, and then they have the hill.
The hill. It's great.
We walked out of the locker room. The hill's right there in front of us. I looked to the left. I looked at A-Route Road. There were people sitting down there. And I turned to I'll never forget, I turned to my dad. I said, Dad, these people, they can't see, they can't hear, they can't. He goes, they just want to be here.
They just want
And that's how it was.
That's how it was then.
That's how it was. Look at that. They just wanted to be here.
Yeah, it's funny. When I moved here, Fairport was power. I moved in 97, so Dave Lanning was the coach.
And they had great teams, state championship teams too.
I couldn't figure. I go, Dave, you don't have lights.
Yeah.
Well, what are they? Can't get lights. I think maybe the neighbors.
One or two neighbors.
I think they have.
They have lights now.
I was like, Dave, how do you not have lights?
I know.
Friday night lights.
I know.
Because every game is afternoon at home.
Yeah.
That was a little different, but they were a power when I got here.
Yes.
It's like, whoa.
Yep.
Good program.
And now it looks like McQuaid has taken over a little bit in Section 5. Bobby Bates,
good coach,
great guy,
fantastic job.
He's got the culture and the program, because let's face it, it's been Aquinas for the most of the years I've been here.
Right.
It was always Aquinas football.
And I was over with Chris over at Aquinas for a lot of those years, and Neiman. And
you had Tony Lapani.
Tony started.
I moved here. Lapani won a title in '98.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
There you go.
Neiman wins in '02, and then Tags wins titles.
Yep.
So there's 3 different coaches.
And Derek Anacino takes over after Chris leaves, and he wins one. So in that time frame, you had Tony Lapani won the first one, set the bar, and everybody's got their own little niche. So I go Dave Neiman back to back. 0102.
0102. Yeah.
Okay. And then Chris has the most.
Yeah.
Chris, he just dominated. We had great kids.
Sure.
Great. You're not going to do nothing without great kids.
And I give Mo some time. I thought he did a good job.
You know what?
As the program progressed this year, I thought they got better and better.
Before the season, I didn't think I'd give them anything, but their kids played very hard.
Yeah.
And they took McQuaid, the first one at the U of R, they took him right down to the 2-point conversion at the end with no time on the clock.
Yep.
Good point. He's doing a good job, and I like what I see out of him and out of the coaches over there. And I got some of those coaches. I've coached with Bob Diator.
Okay.
He's been there for 40 years. Mark Magliocco.
Yeah.
Danny Camilio. All those guys that we were coaching when Neiman was there. But those were some awesome. And then I got to put Derek Anacino. Chris leaves in 2015. Derek comes in and wins the state championship in 2016.
That's right.
His son Nick was on the team. Nick Anacino. And like I said, so each of those coaches during that time frame had their own little thing.
Sure.
Like,
had a run, I tell you. And but now, McQuaid has ascended to the top of the mountain now.
Yep.
They are right.
At least around here.
Yes.
Around here, they are.
They had lost a tough one to
Bennett.
Buffalo
Bennett.
Yeah, we were at that game.
Brutal,
we were at
loss.
that game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was it was something. But
kids play hard though for Bobby. They really do.
Yeah, they do.
They play hard. Well coached. They're disciplined. Don't make a lot of mistakes.
Everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
And I enjoy going over there. I'll watch practice. Jim Lemline is the quarterback coach there. Paul and I are very good friends with Jim, and all the Danny Bates, the whole Bates family.
Danny was at
Pops.
Danny was at was he at Hilton?
Yes, he was
back in the day.
Yes, he was.
He let me do a swim move. They were coaching it was the Eddie Meath All-Star game, and they were practicing over at Fisher.
Right.
So I was doing a story for Fox,
Okay.
and he let me get down in a stance. I'm in a shirt and tie and shoes, and he let me do my thing, and I had a nice little swim move. and I got to the dummy, and I had a nice head.
Nice.
Still the highlight of my career.
There you go.
That I got to get down in a stance and go one-on-one with an offensive line.
That's awesome.
Great.
That's awesome.
It's great.
Paul's got some things now. Also, a part of our podcasting is information. We're trying to give out information to people.
Sure.
Yeah, and feel free to cut it. I want to pass on because we have February 29th is the New York State High School Football Coaches Association Clinic. It's at Turning Stone, and it's been there in the years past. And, we want coaches to join that. I know the clinic, it's a 3-day clinic, and I put down, after I saw the schedule of speakers, some of the highlights. The new head coach of Syracuse, Fran Brown, will be the highlight speaker, and he will be addressing, the New York State coaches there. The Cortland State coaches will be there. And Cortland, remember, they won the Division III title this year. Yep. So, that they'll have a lot of good things to say. And they have, we have, 5 or 6 Section 5 players
Section
playing
5
for the Cortland team.
Right. A lot of people don't know that.
I saw that the Class A champion was Summers, Class B, Rye, and Class C, Waverly. Their head coaches will also speak at the clinic. And then the head coach of University of Rochester is also a speaker, Chad Martinovich, and his son is the quarterback for Brighton.
Yep.
The junior, he has a great year, and he's going to be back as one of the top quarterbacks in the whole area.
Yeah, he's very good.
And then we got 2 other local head coaches, Dan Fichter of Arundecoit and Terrell Cunningham of Monroe, that will be speaking. Terrell Cunningham will be speaking on the 4-2-5 defense, some adjustments. And Dan Fichter is neuro-based warm-ups and pre-lifting. Dan is so big. Remember the Want to Get Fast?
Yes,
a lot of the fitness training and so on, and strength trainings. So those guys will all be there, and they got a ton of other speakers. But for all the coaches, those state clinics are great to promote your kids, because pretty much all the colleges are there in New York State are there, and to start just letting the coaches know of some of the top prospects we have in our area. And so that was one that I wanted to mention. And around Section 5, couple things. Number one, the Avon Braves, formerly known, they will now be called the Avon Riverhawks. So they've switched their names. And we've had a couple teams in the past year. Canandaigua switched from the Canandaigua Braves to the Gray Wolves.
Oh, really? I didn't even know
that's what they are. Arundecoit went from the Indians to the Eagles. And East High had went from the Orientals to the Eagles also. When they changed over. And I do want to say this just because of my background with East High. I want people to know that at one time in the city of Rochester, there was only 2 high schools, East High and West High. And they really broke them up into they had the West High was the Occidentals, and East High was the Orientals. It was hemisphere. It wasn't an Oriental or Asian thing. It was they broke it up. There was only 2 high schools.
How many people don't know
they
that?
Don't know that. You learn things on this show, I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
The other I thought was interesting that I saw this week, the 8-man football and the New York.
Okay, Paul.
Do you want to go back to the New York State Elite and the dates? Okay. Again, another organization is the New York State Elite Athletics, and you can just type that in, New York State or NYSEliteathletics.com, and they're scheduling March 9th. They will have their clinic, and that will be at the TSE. And then March 17th, they have a showcase. And what they do there is the athletes actually perform. They'll have 7-on-7 competitions. They'll run pass routes 1-on-1. They'll have some of the kickers will perform, and you'll have college coaches right there, part of the evaluation, along with working with them at their individual positions. Okay. So it's a way of our kids in Section 5 to get exposure. And then the last date that they have set up is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. There is a college fair where they'll have the college coaches. Again, this will be at TSE. And again, for a lot of the young athletes, bringing highlight films, transcripts to those college coaches. And again, it's ways to get, our kids exposure from Section 5.
All right. That's great. Now, time for me to put my glasses on.
All right, buddy. I'm with you.
I got the only thing I'm just going to just review over is we do have some sponsors.
Nice, John. Well, for someone who does a show, you need sponsors. Sponsors are the lifeline.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
One thing that we like to do that we forgot last week is please subscribe. Keeping It Real, Section 5 Football. Subscribe, hit the bell, the like button, and please just do that for us. It'd be a great, great help. We're just going to go right through a couple of our...
John, where are you? Where's John?
John, where'd you go? John!
John!
Where are you?
Where is he?
I don't know. Did he go upstairs?
Is there food up there?
I think so.
I'm sure he's up there. He beat us up there.
The pizzelles are gone. John, just stay up there.
We'll be joining you shortly.
we will be up there shortly. We just got a couple things just to finish up with, and this is time for me to put my glasses back on. I'd like to go over our sponsors and just recognize them. The first one is G Athletics. Actually, I'll say this now. The next time we're on, it'll be in 2 weeks. It'll be myself, George Giordano, and our other guest. This is the first time we're going to have like a
counterpoint, a little debate.
Yeah, a little debate thing. George is going to represent our public schools, and my other friend that I have on is long time athletic booster over at Aquinas, Bob Ebert. And we're just going to do a little,
He'll be representing the private schools.
Yes. So we're going to have a little debate of the private schools and the Catholics. And I know it's going to be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Paul will not be with us.
I will be in sunny Florida, as I said before, but I'll be listening.
Yes, I'm sure he'll be.
And you will have your hands full, and I'm sure you will keep everything under control.
Those two guys, between those two and this guy that just left us right here, I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll definitely get by. So anyways, G Athletics, George runs like camps and stuff like that. In the beginning of August this year, he's going to have a 3-day camp up at Grace Olympia High School. We're going to be up there for 3 days, just interviewing coaches, players for those 3 days. That should be a lot of fun. After that, we have Premier Sports in Grease Ridge Mall. Joe Muno invited us to broadcast from his store during the season. So we're still just kind of talking about it a little bit, but we're looking at somewhere in the middle of the week where we can talk about the games that were just played, the upcoming games of the week, and at the end, we're going to have a Player of the Week award we're going to give out. I'm going to have all the emails of all coaches in Section 5. We're going to send out a group email to nominate your player. So we're going to have that too, which that should be, and then we'll have the young man on at the end of that show at Premier Sports. Along with that, we have some gift certificates that I've gotten done. The one is from our buddy over at Sticky Lips, Howie, and we have gift certificates for the Player of the Week. After that, we have another one, which is one of his old football guys, is Ronnie Crawford.
Right, Ronnie played for us at East High.
Yep, and Ronnie works with me in the city. We're over at Northeast High School, and just a great guy. And he runs a private security company. It's called Under the Radar. He runs it with another great guy that works, Diego Ortiz. And those two guys do a great job. So if you're ever looking for somebody to, give you some, security for whatever your private needs or business or whatever, These are the guys to talk to. And that's about it. That's about all I have for right now.
I have one more thing, and I want to make sure we give props to. We have a Section 5 Player of the Year in New York State, and that's voted by the New York State Sports Writers Association. And the young man's name is Tyson Totten. He's from Pembroke, and they won the 8-man football state championship. And I want you to listen, John, to some of his statistics this year, why he was the state player of the year. He had 72 total touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
And he rushed for 4,235 yards in one season.
It's unheard of. It really it's amazing.
That's some of our best players. That's a career.
Yes.
Yes. So congratulations to Totten of Pembroke, and we will have more information as far as some of the state honors. We have Section 5 players that made first team, second team, third team, all state in AA, Class A, B, C, and D. And in future episodes, we want to give those young men props.
That's awesome. That really, those 4,200 yards is just, it's unthinkable,
They, and we had talked about it earlier. We want to get out to watch an 8-man game.
Oh, we will.
And maybe we will watch the defending state champs.
The two things that I'm going to do this year that I've never done before is we're going to get out to an 8-man football game, which I'm definitely looking forward to. And the other one, which I might be looking more forward to because of the growth of it, is the girls' flag football.
And we talked about that, how that just has exploded from 8 teams last year to right now. There will be 31 teams that have already said they will.
31.
They went from 8 to 31 that will have girls flag football teams.
And you said
Section 5
that they'll be playing an 11-game regular
season. And it looks like
awesome.
Tuesdays and Saturdays.
That's awesome.
Are some of the scheduled games.
That's something. So those are things that are definitely on the horizon. Looking forward to do. As far as anything else, like I said, in 2 weeks, just to go through a little bit of what we'll be doing. 2 weeks, we'll have George Giordano here and Bob Ebert, little, pros and cons of Catholic and the public schools. And I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Just keep the peace.
That's all I'm here. That's all. I'm going to sit in the middle. I'm definitely sitting in the middle of those two. And we're just going to go from there. And then after that, the 2 weeks now, we're going to be on every 2 weeks. Wednesday, it'll be out on YouTube. After that, we're going to have
James Johnson coming.
Yes, thank you.
From the Democrat and Chronicle.
James Johnson from the Democrat and Chronicle will be my guest. Paul won't be with us. He'll be down in sunny Florida.
But I'll hear about it.
I'll definitely hear about it.
I'll be listening.
And so it'll be James, myself, and George doing that, and just listening to James about his experience with Section 5 football and things that are going on.
He's been covering that for a long time.
Yeah, he's definitely a true veteran of Section 5 football. And then the 2 weeks after that will be Channel 8 sports newscaster is Thad Brown. And we'll have Thad on, ex-Aquinas grad.
A lot of people may know him too, as he does a lot of the Buffalo Bills pregame.
Yep.
Every week.
And just getting his thoughts on high school football in the area and everything, and just giving people more information, like we've said. We want to get this out. We want to make it presentable. We just like to give something back. And honestly, this is, like I've said from the first time we were here last week, this is not a money maker for us. Okay. We just love Section 5 so much. Our lives are Section 5. And this is like a little something, hopefully, that'll give it some spark and just make people enjoy it, and maybe it'll grow. Right. Anything else, Paul?
I'm done.
I think I'm done too. So we have a new little saying at the end. So when we say we're both done, we're just going to kind of look up and say,
Keeping it real, Section 5.
Have a great night.
Good night.